Welcome to the very first episode of the Pizza and Planes podcast, powered by Barnstormers Pizza and more. I'm your host, Katie, and we're going to talk today about the history of Barnstormers. We're going to talk about the history of aviation, a little bit about what the Pizza and Plane podcast is and how this came to fruition. And I just picked up a couple pizzas, so we're running deliveries. Thanks for coming for the ride. Topic number 1. What is a Barnstormers Pizza? In 2020, during the height of COVID, my dad found himself in the same position many of us found ourselves in and had to pivot for careers and had to make the decision, what did we want to do? What did he want to do? If he had to do it every day, how is he going to make it fun? So, the stars aligned and he found himself with the opportunity to reopen a restaurant that had been closed for some time and had to decide what was he going to do in that space. So pizzas it is, and if you got to do it every day, it's going to be something you like to do. We all as a family kind of collectively like airplanes. My dad's always liked airplanes. He was in the Army, 101st Airborne. He was an air traffic controller. He had his private pilot's license after he got out of the Army, and was involved with air shows when I was young, and like a volunteer, helping to schedule, things like that. So we've always just been around, and then we've been EAA members and been traveling to Oshkosh for years. So it just made sense. Pizza and planes, what's better, right? So from there, Barnstormers Pizza and More was born. Someday I'll get Dad on the podcast, let him tell you a little bit more, his version of the story. He loves to tell that. So that's my simplified version. And I came to join, my husband came to join, my brothers run around from time to time. My kids are there with us full time. My mom helps outside of her full-time job. It really is the whole family running around trying to make our place in the world, I guess. So it's been a lot of fun, and I would have never expected the opportunities that it's presented. So in 2024, I did some meet and greets with my daughter and was talking with some performers. I had met RJ Gritter and Rob Holland and Jeff Bourbon, and I was actually talking to Jeff, and he said you should make a pizza inspired by the Yak 110, and I was like, oh my gosh. And we got into this whole conversation of it, and that's kind of really where everything was started. So come 2025, I had a vision, had a plan, and the Barnstormer Bite was born. And I really just wanted to connect a little bit more than this is a person that's in the sky. They're a real person too, as I'm trying to teach my pizza patrons about pilots and the sky is the limit. There's so much out there. Sometimes I feel like we're not exposed to the cool side of aviation outside of Grandpa's airplane that was putt-putting around. So I really try to show that in our social media and whatnot. It's fun, gets engagement. Red Bull does it, right? So so I did some meet and greets, and I was just talking to people, and it was fun, and the Barnstormer Bite was born. I started doing some real interviews, talking to people about what was their favorite pizza, what kind of crust did they like, everybody's favorite topic, how do they feel about pineapple. And it really created like a grounded and relatable conversation that I was able to share with my customers, and they were like, hey, I like pineapple on my pizza too, as every person should. So it's been really fun. That's how the Pizza and Planes podcast kind of was just has evolved out of that, because at some point I have to remember that Barnstormers Pizza is a restaurant and their focus is still on pizza, and it has just evolved into having so much plane podcast or plane content. I gotta go somewhere with it. So we have our YouTube page going. It's got a lot of plane spotting stuff that I've done with the kids. We have our TikTok, our Instagram, Facebook. We got some big things going on with changes with our website. It's gonna be exciting. And I got like 3 sleeps when we take off for Sun and Fun. So when this goes out, I'll probably have already been back because, well, let's be honest, it's episode number 1, and I don't really have a plan outside of getting this recorded. So, bear with me just a moment. I just pulled up to my delivery. I'll be right back.
Hey, did you know you could have your favorite Barnstormers delivered to Stevensville, St. Joe, and parts of Benton Harbor? You can order delivery online or give us a call. Thanks for listening today. Hope to see you soon.
All right, sorry about that. So, yeah, that's pretty much the backstory. That's how Barnstormers got started. We're in St. Joseph, Michigan, southwest Michigan, right off of the Lake Michigan coastline. It's a very popular area for people to come from Chicago during the summer. We get all kinds of fun people coming in. The local airport is...
Turn left.
Oh, caught me. The local airport is the Southwest Michigan Regional Airport for Benton Harbor.
At the stop sign.
And then, so we can deliver there. We deliver to C20 in Berrien Springs, and then there's some other airports. Dowagiac, it's not too far. Watervliet's not too far. I don't know that you'd want me to just run you an everyday delivery out there because it probably wouldn't be the best. But if you're landing and coming in and you're going to land on the grass strip in Watervliet, you want me to bring you out pizzas, I will be there, okay? Just saying. So, never going to pass down that opportunity. So if you're listening to a podcast that's about pizza and planes, I expect you probably know what a Barnstormer is. But just in case you didn't, Barnstormers were one of the very first types of air show pilots. They traveled the countryside after the war. They'd learned to fly and they loved it, and they came and brought that enthusiasm for aviation into communities that weren't seeing it. So a lot of people saw planes for the first time, just in a field, and just small little air show acts. So being based on air shows, Barnstormers, all of it just fits together for us. But we do get asked that a lot. Another one that we hear a lot is, who is Bucky? So when we first got started, we had our logo made up and had a little biplane on it. And we ran a competition in our followers back then with on Facebook who wanted to name Bucky, and I think the winner got free pizzas once a month for a year. So came down to a couple different things, and Bucky the Barnstormer stuck. So the kid that picked that name actually ended up working for us at one point in time, so that was very fun too. Full circle moment. But yeah, so that's who Bucky is. All of our pizza boxes, you're gonna get at least one handwritten pizza box, and they'll have a message from Bucky with your order. It's just a fun touch that we do. Leads back to COVID when you couldn't get supplies, especially being a new business. Everybody was committing what they did have to their customers, and if you work in supply chain, you know, it was a rough time. I came out of air freight logistics before coming into this, so I still have my foot in aviation, just in a little bit different format over there. So that was fun time too. And hold on just one more moment for me. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
For more exclusive airshow content, pizza specials, and fun behind-the-scenes content from around the restaurant, follow us on all of the socials at Barnstormers Pizza.
All right, sorry about that. Gotta get it in while you can, you know. So, yeah, Barnstormers lore. Got that out of the way. The Pizza and Planes podcast started, and doing the interviews at the air shows just kind of evolved into what we have today. So I'm going down to Sun and Fun next week. I'm going to be a volunteer reporter for the Sun and Fun radio. I've never done anything like this before. So it's really exciting. I'll have lots of very interesting stories to come back and share. I'm very excited about that. Most importantly, excited to get my feet wet so that next year I know what to expect and I can hit the ground running and really make it a big deal. So, yeah, that's where Barnstormers started, right here in Southwest Michigan, which is funny. That's where my aviation career has kind of started. Not that I'm flying. I actually ran out of gas today in my car, which led me to believe maybe flying's not for me. I'm gonna keep working on that, but I gotta get in the air first with somebody and get over my claustrophobia. Then we'll worry about whether or not I should be a pilot in control. So, anyhow, I was really excited when I learned that the history of women in aviation comes right back to Southwest Michigan with Harriet Quimby. She was born in Coldwater, Michigan, and she's really cool. She's a cool girl. She got a taste for riding in fast cars and just had a knack for adrenaline. I really love it. But hold on one second for me.
Have you seen the recent copy of Wings Weekly? Sent out on Wednesdays each week, we highlight our special of the month, an aviator that we've met, interviewed, and maybe even made a pizza with. And we can even hide some coupons in there, so look closely. If you're not already signed up, ask how next time you order.
Hey, sorry about that. So yeah, Harriet Quimby, really cool gal. She was from Michigan, Southwest Michigan. And in an attempt to teach more of our followers about aviation history, to learn for myself, to tie it all together with Michigan, I really enjoyed learning about this, and I look forward to sharing more of this kind of stuff in the future. Harriet she had a little bit of drama in her upcoming, and I kind of think it's even more than what they really led on to when they talk about her. Her family came from the east coast of Michigan to be farmers, and they failed twice. I just don't think it was in the cards for them. And then from right there, it gets kind of hard to learn about her. Her mom was really big on telling the story or painting the picture that she wanted people to know and to think, and I kind of believe that Harriet kind of learned that from a young age too. So real quick, their stories start to change. After the second failed farming attempt in Michigan, they moved to California. They scrubbed Michigan from their family history. They told people that they came from the East Coast, which that's where Ursula, Harriet's mom, was originally from. And her family had some money, and I really think she missed that. But I don't really know. She would lie about Harriet's age, even as far as by 9 years. She would lie about where she went to school. She would say she was schooled overseas in France. It was just, that's a lot. And Harriet learned to adapt and be the person that she needed to be in the situation she found herself in. So she became a journalist, and that had led her to all kinds of opportunities. My Little Pizza and Planes podcast and the Barnstormer Bite has opened some really interesting doors for me and my kids. I can't even imagine what being a worldwide journalist would do. So Harriet, being the baddie that she was, she had gotten the opportunity to ride in a race car, and she was immediately hooked on the adrenaline. It led her to making friends, some friends with air racers, and she made friends with one of their sisters. Her name was Mathilde, and this is the only one time I'm going to butcher all of this. I believe you pronounce it Mossant. So, Mathilde, her brothers, they had a flight school, and it was very agreed upon that women, I guess, shouldn't fly. The Wright brothers were quoted to say that it was a publicity stunt. If women were going to learn to fly, it would just be for a publicity stunt. They didn't have any interest in teaching her. So Harriet had approached Mathilde's brothers and Matilda also wanted to learn to fly, and the boys said that they would go ahead and they would teach the girls. They would teach them. They needed to be patient. They needed to learn correctly. So the time would come, and John was going to teach them. So it's 1911, and Harriet has done her flight time. She's learned. She's practiced. It's time for her to solo. She goes up to bat, swings, misses. She failed. There's no nice way to put that. She failed. And so, I mean, I guess the best part is she gets to try again, right? And so the very next day, she gets to try again. And it was also her friend Matilda's day to take the test. And so her friend, bless her heart, she knew it was so important to Harriet to be the first woman pilot and the first woman to get her license. I imagine that Harriet had boasted about that and was excited. Matilda was a good friend. She wanted to support that. So she let Harriet retake the test so she could get that title. Like, what a freaking doll, for real. I really love that. So Harriet would go on to fly in the flying circus. She would make money, a lot of money in that time for what she was performing. And quick factoid that I wanted to share that is seriously iconic. Harriet had a purple satin flight suit made just for her. And it was so popular and so well received that Vin Fizz Grape Soda, whose soda I guess kind of sucked, but the marketing was legit, reached out to her, and they had made her the very first woman product spokesperson. So she had that going for her too. Anyhow, it was April 16th of 1912 that Harriet would go on to make her biggest, noteworthy, and historic flight. Side note, do you know anything about that date, though? It's kind of a big one. Kind of screwed her over a little bit. So, anyhow, Harriet, she flies over the English Channel. She's the first woman to do it solo. Someone had just done it as a passenger, and I feel like that kind of stole some of her thunder. She made her flight. She landed not where she was supposed to, but all in all, she still did it. And the headlines, well, they were focused on the sinking of the Titanic. Harriet set the record, made history, and our girl from right here in Southwest Michigan, overseas, making a name for herself, she got lost in the noise of one of the world's biggest tragedies. And that really breaks my heart for her. And for the world that really just needed to know that a woman did it. It was such a weird time for women back then, and I just can't even imagine. And if it just feels typical that it would get pushed under the rug. Anyhow, I was just really excited to tell you about her. She's super awesome, and her career wasn't very long, and that's more stories for another day. But she was one of our own. She was a Southwest Michigan baddie, and I'm going to keep learning about her, and we're going to talk about her more next time, so be ready. And while I'm on the topic of Harriet Quimby, I wanted to make sure you have the details for the Harriet Quimby Fly-In on April 25th at the Southwest Michigan Regional Airport here in Benton Harbor. It's going to be from 10:30 to 3:30, and we'll have food, static displays, some presenters, and I think it's really going to be nice to just make sure people know that Harriet was one of our own, and she was at the very beginning of all of this. Hey, hold on one more second for me.
Are you a Barnstormers Passport Rewards member? Now is the time to sign up if you haven't already earn points towards free pizza for eating pizza. It's that easy. Sign up for your next order. Hope to see you soon.
All right, well, that's a wrap for tonight. I'm going to keep talking about Harriet all month long on the Barnstormers socials as we feature our pizza of the month, the Aviator. And hopefully that'll draw her up a little attention. I know that there is some really cool stuff about her, and I'm really excited to share it. But we are going to save some of that for episode number 2. Thanks again for riding along today. Until next time, do remember, keep the greasy side down and the shiny side up. I'm Katie, and that was the very first episode of the Pizza and Planes podcast. Have a great night. Thanks. Bye-bye.